Hey, welcome everyone. This is Mike from ZozoStockWatch.com, and this is your stock watch list market talk for February 2nd, Friday. As the new month begins, Friday the 2nd comes into play. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Futures currently, Dow futures up 16, S&P futures up 5, NASDAQ futures up 54 points. You had Apple, Google, Amazon all reporting after the bell tonight, so they all had decent earnings and popping in the after hours, so that's pushing up the NASDAQ futures. Let's go ahead and check out our calendar for tomorrow. 8:30 we have the non-farm payrolls. They call it the employment situation now. That's at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. 10 o'clock consumer sentiment. 10 o'clock factory orders. And then 1 o'clock we have the Baker Hughes rig count to sprinkle in a little bit of Fed speak at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. For our earnings for tomorrow before the open, we have CLX, CVX, JOUT, Merck, Madison Square Garden, Sprint, to name a few, and ExxonMobil. And this is courtesy of the Trade Exchange, their nifty calendar from the Trade Exchange. Give them a try, check them out, and they're running a special right now, so check it out on their Twitter feed at the Trade Exchange. And if you're a new member, you can get a nice trial with the Trade Exchange. Let's go ahead and check out our top gainers for the day today. AFMD, QRVO, eBay, NCTY, NVTR, MTOR, SGEN, Race Ferrari, and VIAV. Then to the losing side, PayPal with that news with eBay, UPS had earnings, BABA had earnings, Hershey had earnings, Sprint, all to the downside there on top gainers and losers. Let's look at the call activity for today. Unusual call activity, AMRN, NBR, LVS, to name a few. And then on the unusual put activity, COTY and GOG. All right, let's look at some of the news that came out after the bell tonight. KTOS had some news that came out after the bell right here, but doesn't look like much action in the after hours there for KTOS. Amgen had earnings, AMGN. The stock gap down, recovering a little bit in the after hours here. Earnings per share, revenue miss. Amazon also reporting earnings. Like I said, Amazon, Apple, Google. They sold Amazon down and then they punched it right back up. So Amazon, no worse for the wear here on Amazon. Let me move this to a 5-minute chart. It's easier to see the action there. That's the Amazon. Next up, we had Google, and that stock sold off, recovered a little bit on their earnings. Next up, we had CBay with the closing of their public offering. CBay kind of just doing nothing in the after hours, just staying in that middle of the range at the moment. Next up, let's see, we had Google with earnings per share miss, revenue beat. ePay, earnings per share and revenue beat. So ePay, one of the payment services, that one gapping up in the after hours tonight. ePay. Deck had earnings per share and revenue beat. Deck popped, then pulled back on Decker's Outdoor. Data, earnings per share, revenue beat. Data. Nice pop there in data in the after hours. CY, earnings per share and revenue beat. A little bit of a pop there. GoPro, earnings per share, revenue miss. GPRO, unfortunately, moving down in the after hours. Did recover, though, off that 490 spot, pop back up for GoPro, GPRO. Let's see, what else do we have after the bell? OSIS. That one's selling off, OSIS. I thought I saw news on it. OSIS, SEC investigation on OSIS. So they're being investigated. Visa with an earnings per share revenue beat for Visa, popped up, pulled back. Not much of a pop on Visa, not much of a recovery there for Visa. Let's see, what else do we have after the bell? Here we go. Apple earnings per share and revenue beat. Earnings per share, revenue beat. They drove Apple down, and then the conference call came out. Tim Cook came out on the conference call, made some positive comments, and they pushed it all the way back up to 174 in the after hours on for Apple. So let's see, Apple warning on quarter two revenues. I guess that's what drove it down, but that didn't last long as the dip buyers came in on Apple. Let's see, was there anything else as far as earnings? Top earnings for tomorrow, like I said, ExxonMobil, Madison Square Garden, Merck. CVX, CLX are a few names for tomorrow. A little bit of uh, comments from the Apple CEO there. And I think that's about it. MNOV came out with some news after the bell. MNOV. All right. And a little bit of a pop here as Medic Nova announces MN-166 demonstrated a 26% reduction in confirmed disability progression and in that phase 2B trial in progressive MS. All right, so MNOV ticking up a little bit in the after hours. ATHX enters into a 100 million common stock purchase agreement. All right, so ATHX, some news there after the bell also. All right, so let's take a look at some of the markets today and the action. SPY basically holding this purple dotted line you see here, dashed line. It's the 13 EMA currently with the 20 SMA right down below it. So, we could go as far as the 20 SMA if that breaks. It's at 279.34 for the 20 SMA. I mean, if they took this market all the way down to the 50 SMA, it would still be a strong market, and that's down at 270.77. So, we've had this huge run up on the indices, so and a pullback, wouldn't surprise anybody. We are kind of in that stage of pulling back slowly. All right, with a fight at every moving average. Okay, not predicting or anything, just saying that this market could go and test the 20 SMA 279.34. We'll have to see how it moves after the jobs number tomorrow and after it digests all the big earnings that it had tonight. All right, so that's the SPY, and then the QQQ, basically the same thing down here at the 13 EMA on the Qs, which is 167.55, that 13 EMA, the dashed purple line you see there. And then the 20 SMA is right at 166.04 for the QQQ. IWM and IWC, a little more action to the downside, but they are trying to hold now. The lows here of the low today was 155.53, so we'll see what the next candle has in store for us at that 155.50 area, if we're going to break through that and then maybe test the 50 SMA here, which is currently at 154.22, so only about $1 down to get to the 50 SMA. IWC came close to the 50 SMA on the IWC, which is the micro caps. That's at 96.76. So we'll call it, 97 for right now. So keep an eye on that 97 area. The low today was 97.07 on the IWC. And I don't know if you're trading day trader or swing trader that's watching these videos, but small caps have not been moving like they had in the past couple of weeks. You're not getting that big follow through, and this is probably the reason why, as the IWC and the IWM are kind of curling over. And also, you have a lot of big companies reporting earnings like the Apples, the Googles. So the action is kind of there right now. And, then attention may come back to the small caps again. And once they had their January, the January effect and the Santa Claus rally and all the small caps. So a lot of them have had a big run. And so maybe they're just digesting some of those gains right now. IYT, the transport, still currently under the 5 EMA, has support here at 192. We'll call it 193 area possibly for the IYT. The Dow Jones 30, we'll take a quick look at that. We've had this big run up. Now we're kind of just consolidating on, once again, the 13 EMA, the dashed purple line that you see here. IBB, a little more weakness in that. Came down to the 20 SMA, down around that 113 area for the IBB. So a little bit weakness, but they did come in and show up. Bulls showed up on that 20 SMA for the IBB. VX, the VIX. Still hanging above at the top of the range here for the VIX. So, we were down here holding this 9 area, holding that 9 area, and now we're getting up near, that 15 area for the VIX. So a little bit of the complacency went out of the market. Let me check our fear and greed index real fast, and I'll get that over to you. Fear and Greed Index, and that's from CNN. And let's see, that number is at 58. So, some of the exuberance getting let out of the market now, as we were up at 80, now pulling back to about 58 on the CNN Oscillator Fear and Greed Index. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the watch list for tomorrow. AKER, an under 50-cent name. 57 million shares came in this name today on AKER, so a nice pop there. Has a high of 39 cents, so maybe an intraday play on that one. Not a big fan of those stocks under a dollar, but this one's shaping up, so putting it out there for you. AMPE, quietly, very quietly on very low volume here, expanding volume, but low volume nonetheless. Finally got over that $3 level, but we'll see if there's any more follow through in AMPE. ARNA shaping up nicely, holding the fast moving averages. We'll see if there's maybe a continuation move. Biotech name. Volume a little bit light here, under 500,000 shares, so that's one strike against it. ARRY. This one, let's see, holding the 13, back above the 5, back above the 10 on this one, and has a high today of 1543. Maybe that 1550 area might send this one up further, so keep your eye on ARRY. Next up, we have AUG, one of these smaller names, industrial metals and mining. You see how it's been going down now. It's been kind of basing here. Had very nice expanding volume here. Not a lot of volume, but one of the highest volume bars here. So it's right under the 100 SMA, which is at $1.77. So I think it needs to clear that $1.77, $1.75 for AUG, industrial metals and mining. So not a favorite, but just throwing it out there if you like those smaller ones. Banks holding up well today. Bank America, Citigroup also turning back up. So maybe these might be on watch for possible swing trades in Citigroup. Let's see, we had Zion Bank chart looking nice here. What else? Schwab, SCHW. Turning back up, holding above the 10 SMA. So Schwab looks good. ETFC, E-Trade Financial turning back up, trying to get back over, or actually back over the 10 SMA there. HBAN, another regional bank, looks pretty good here, holding above the 10, trying to get up over that 1650 area. We had a high back here of 1633. And we're at closed at 1634 on HBAN. And then there's the regional bank ETF that's turning back up. And then the XLF also bouncing off that 13 EMA here for the XLF. Let's go back to the watch list. CNHI had some news with Microsoft. 4 million shares came into it. Not a lot of progress, though. I mean, there was this gap up. So we'll have it on watch tomorrow, see if there's any kind of, trade in this that sets up intraday. But, today was a little lackluster in the trading, so we'll see on that one. First Solar, we got a nice trade in this in the service today on First Solar, holding this 50 SMA. So we'll see if this wants to maybe give us another trade tomorrow. GTE, small little oil name, trying to get up over this 290 and then hopefully that $3 area. So GTE, 1.6 million shares there. IMGN, nice pop today. It's under that 950 area, 4.3 million shares. It's had a big run off the 200 SMA, so it's not a favorite. Maybe a little bit of a chase at this point, but we'll see if it wants to maybe set up intraday for a quick trade. JASO, 2.3 million shares came in this name. Had a high today of 759. So we'll have this one on watch to see if there's any kind of continuation move in JASO. LTBR. This one popped, pulled back. Not a favorite, but you never know with these blockchain stocks. Maybe it catches some fire tomorrow. Not a favorite though, but I'll have it on watch and see if it wants to reignite. NBEV still cannot get over this $4 area on NBEV. Keeps getting pushed back. If it ever gets over that $4 area, maybe it will get going. NBR, oil name, small oil name, about $8 stock, 9 million shares traded in it. We had a high today of 823. Watch that 825 if it can take that out for Neighbors Industries. NCTY had a pop this morning, 2.6 million shares in the name. It gets like these pops and pulls back. So once again, not a favorite though, but since it popped today, here was the intraday chart on it. Since it popped up today, we'll see if there's any kind of, continuation move in that name. NOG, another oil name, gave a little bit of a pop, 3.8 million shares. I think I'm leaning towards these oil names more than anything for tomorrow. High was 238. We'll see if we get a continuation move there. NVTR, expanding volume here, just under that $9 area. We'll see how this sets up intraday. OHGI, maybe it wants to get back over this 250 spot for OHGI, so keep your eye on that one. And let's see, OIH. Have the OIH on watch. Maybe I get a continuation move. Finally getting back above the 28. The 13 EMA currently is at 28.19. So maybe over the highs today, which were 28.16. Maybe the OIH gets going. Such names as Schlumberger, Halliburton, Rig are in that ETF. RVLT has been getting, I saw some insider purchases, one by the CEO, one by the CFO. I think that was yesterday. 1.8 million shares, nice pop in it today. The 100 SMA got in the way in this 450 area. So, nice run intraday today. So we'll see if this one wants to reignite for tomorrow. And then Yelp, nice pop in Yelp today. Takeover chatter, I think, or maybe because there was chatter in Twitter, there's been takeover chatter. Maybe Yelp is kind of following Twitter. So let's watch this one if it can take out the highs today. 46.25 were the highs. Now I don't just expect to don't just buy at that number. We'll have to see how what the market's doing. How far we are from that trigger price and whatnot, or how it's setting up intraday. But definitely one to keep on watch as Yelp getting some volume today. And then lastly, in the Z's, ZN, oil and gas play, 2.3 million shares, basing under that 275 number. Can move that down a little bit. So there's, close to that 275 number on Z, and we'll see if that one will give us a trade in that name. And also, it popped up to past that in the after hours a little bit here, pulling back a little bit for ZN. All right, that's your watch list and market talk, and that's for February 2nd. Hey, if you're really liking these videos, I make them. Can you hit that thumbs up? Keep this channel growing, keep the channel alive, and hit that thumbs up, like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. We're growing each day, want to keep the channel growing. Hope you're enjoying these videos. Leave some comments if you are, and always please retweet them or put them out on your social media, and always please hit that thumbs up.